Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? I am very serious. We have breaking news coming out of Europe, and this just in. Wow, the Russians are asking for a meeting with the United States to discuss numerous pertinent situations that threaten the world's security architecture. And it includes Ukraine. Let me tell you all about that in just a second. Let me put a shout out right now. It's an incredible, this is an incredible change of events, folks. Anyway, in recent years, 34 million households have reported difficulty in paying their energy bills or kept their houses at an unsafe temperature in an attempt to lower their cost. Are you serious? Yes, power bills have been rising nationwide, and for many cities, they've increased almost 30% just this past decade. This is why I am doing my very best to help people understand that they can lower their energy bills with the help of this unbelievable little device. I mean, it's incredible. I'm able to cut my slash my power bills, beat the greedy power companies. Guys, put more money in your pocket. Simply do this. Don't wait. Just go right now to www.don'twastepower.com. That's www.don'twastepower.com. Get this little device. You just plug it in the wall, and it smooths the currency flow coming into your home to all the different appliances and everything that you use. You can cut it drastically down. And there's a 66% off. Just click on the link in the description below the video here. Go there and find out about don'twastepower.com. That's www.don'twastepower.com. Okay? And you'll be glad you did. And so let me just say this right now, because this is incredible information that we actually have this. It really is, okay? And Russia is telling the United States, Russia, just a few hours ago, about 4 hours ago, Russia tells the U.S., we need to talk. And Ukraine must be on the agenda. So here we are. Russia sees a pressing need for security talks with the United States, but they must be comprehensive and include the subject of Ukraine, according to the Kremlin. It is impossible to rip out any individual segment from this general complex of accumulated problems. And we will not do this, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said when asked if Moscow was ready to talk to Washington about nuclear risk. Quote, so we are open to dialogue, but to a broad, comprehensive dialogue that covers all dimensions, including the current dimension related to the conflict about Ukraine, related to the direct involvement of the United States in this conflict, according to Dmitry Peskov. The United States rejects Russia's contention that by arming Ukraine, it has become a direct protagonistic in a war aimed at inflicting a crushing strategic defeat on Moscow. The United States says any negotiations over the war are a matter of Ukraine. So the United States is saying, yeah, if we're going to meet, we have to talk about Ukraine. Now, the Russian stance, as outlined by Dmitry Peskov, is not new, but he told reporters that the list of topics that the Russians and the United States need to discuss was growing. Quote, overall, this dialogue is very much required, said Peskov. Quote, it is needed because problems are piling up, and there are a lot of problems associated with the global security architecture. The global security architecture. In other words, global peace. The entire world In other words, we're getting closer to World War III. This includes nukes. This includes the war with Ukraine. There's a lot of things that's involved in this. And from Washington's point of view, it is Putin who, in the third year of the war with Ukraine, is adding to these lists of security concerns. This week, Vladimir Putin visited nuclear-armed nation North Korea. They signed a mutual defense agreement with its leader, Kim Jong-un, and he said he might supply Russian weapons to North Korea in response to the Western nations arming Ukraine. Putin also reiterated that he was considering reviewing Russia's doctrine on the use of nuclear weapons, and he said that yesterday. The last remaining arms control treaty that limits the number of strategic nuclear warheads is between Russia and the United States, but that agreement expires in 2026. So here we go. So Putin's playing around with nuclear subs in our backyard off the coast of Florida. Putin goes to North Korea and strikes an agreement to supply weapons to North Korea that they could use on South Korea or Japan or Guam or Hawaii or whoever. Putin then goes to Vietnam and solidifies a relationship stronger with that communist nation. But so Putin's doing all of that, the heavy lifting. But Dmitry Peskov announced just about 4 hours ago, we need to talk. We need to meet. The United States and Russia need to get together and discuss a lot of diverse, complex security issues, including nukes and Ukraine. We need to meet. So the Russians are calling for the United States to meet. This is, to me, this is good. This is encouraging. The problem is, who's going to sit down with the Russia? Who represents the United States? And do we know what it is we're doing here? I mean, everybody would like for the war to end in Ukraine. There's no doubt about that. Everybody, if you have any common sense, unless you're part of the military-industrial complex and you want to see every war go on forever. But this is a moment. This, to me, this was an olive branch of discussion before the world goes to the next phase, whether it be the United States or Russia or China or whoever. And you got the Middle East situation that's raging out of control right now. I mean, you just had Lebanon just warned Cyprus that if they help Israel in this war against them, that they will attack Cyprus. Now, Cyprus has said, look, we just want to be neutral, but we've always let Israel fly over our airspace. And Hezbollah of Lebanon is saying, no more. No, you're not. But there's another problem. Cyprus has several military bases of the United Kingdom that are in Cyprus. And Cyprus has no jurisdiction over this. I mean, if the UK wants to use their bases to assist Israel in a war against Lebanon or Hezbollah, they will. So, here you go. You've got Iran, you got the Houthis in Yemen, you got the Syrians, you got the Russians, you've got Hamas, and you got Hezbollah, and Lord knows who else might jump in this thing. So it's a very serious situation in the Middle East. And then, of course, you have Kim Jong-un locking arms with Russia, and you have China using gunboat diplomacy circling Taiwan. And you have to ask, is President Biden up for the challenge to sit down with the Russian leaders and work out a deal that stops the war? And obviously, the only way that's going to work is you got to tell Ukraine, we're done. We're sending you no more weapons to fight with. And you're going to have to accept that you've lost 25% of your country to Russia, but that's going to have to be the new borders. And Russia, you're going to have to agree that you've taken 25%, but that's all you can take. The war's over. Let's put up the border, and let's start to live in peace. I mean, and everybody's going to have to say that. That's, I mean, obviously. But Russia's got some threats against the United States and American interests that we're not reading in the news here, but they know about. And the United States has other capabilities to do severe harm to Russia in many different directions, whether it be technical or space, big tech or space, or banking or militarily. There's a lot. So both sides can hurt each other, or both sides can sit down and end this war with Ukraine. And, Biden could allow maybe his Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, to negotiate this, but he's pretty soft. I don't know who. I mean, not the vice president, and certainly not, I don't know. Lloyd Austin doesn't seem strong enough. I really don't know who we got. Jake Sullivan or somebody? I mean, who do we have that could actually sit down in a comprehensive way in the current administration and work out a deal with Russia that makes sense for everybody and put an end to this war? And you got to tell Zelensky, no more. It's up. The gig is up. We're going to end this war. You've lost 25% of the country. Let it go. And you got to tell Russia, all right, you got a big piece of it, but you can't have it all. Let's end this thing. And to do that, you have to have some strong, and not just words, but you have to have capability to say, but if you want to go on, we can take it to another level if that's what you want to do. So you got to have someone at the table. Yeah, we need Trump at the table, but he's not at the table, not at this moment. So there's a lot on the line here, guys. I wanted you all to be praying about it because I would love to see the war end in Ukraine. There's way too many people have died, and too many more will die. And the cost is outrageous to our country as well as the world. And the poor people of Ukraine have suffered way too much, and so have the Russians suffered way too much. I mean, many, many, many. Now, no, there's no prophecy that says that it's written that no one is coming in for a truce. There's no prophecy on this. There's none. The prophecy is that Russia is going to attack Israel at some point and will join forces with the Iranians and the Turks and Libya and Ethiopia and a few other nations. That is prophecy, and it's called Ezekiel 38. That is in the Word. But as far as Russia, Ukraine, it's just a constant look. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. It's been under, that area there in Ukraine has been under several different empires. And so I don't know which way to go. I'd just like to see the war end. But as far as affecting prophecy, the only thing that by this war continuing is that it could fold into World War III. Okay? So then you would have World War III. And that would be war raging in Europe, war raging in the South Pacific, and war raging in the Middle East. And so, in my opinion, I don't see what Russia asking to talk with the United States. I don't see this as weakness at all on the side of Russia, to be honest with you. I see this as Russia bringing everybody to Jesus. In other words, a come to Jesus moment with the United States and the Western world, because Putin doesn't look like a man that's sick on the deathbed. This is a guy that's got nuclear submarines off the coast of Cuba frigates and warships hanging around on our back door of Miami, the same time that he's got that going on, and do you actually think he could have even put this military presence in our backyard if there would have been someone else at the helm? No, this wouldn't have happened. And while he's got that going on, he's fighting a war in Ukraine in which he is systematically winning, a war of attrition, and he's chipping away. And while that's going on, he goes to North Korea and strikes a military weapon agreement. And you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of deal with North Korea. And then to go ahead and stop in and visit the Vietnamese while you're at it, who are also communists, North Vietnamese. This doesn't look like a guy that we were getting reports coming out on our propaganda media that Putin was sick and Putin was weak and he was about ready to die and the Russians were losing. It was just a matter of time. That's not what I see. I think all of us realize this is you're right. Sherry's right. Yes, this is very, very serious. So if you want to look at it from a prophecy standpoint, this isn't Gog and Magog between Russia and Ukraine, but what it could turn into is the Sixth Trumpet War. And that's a global world war, which is going to happen. I don't know if it's from this, if this is involved in it or not. I don't know. But it will include a global war that kills a third of the world. And you can read that in Revelation chapter 9. And that's why we wrote the book. Revelation 9:11. This Apollyon comes out of the bottomless pit and he wreaks havoc on the world with every ungodly demon that comes out of the pits of hell, including the demon of war, especially the demon of war, in which Apollyon is able to manipulate the kings of the earth and the kings of the east, it says, and that Apollyon releases these 4 fallen angels from under the river Euphrates, and they collectively, with all the rest of the demons, cause the world for the angel to blow the 6th trumpet, it says in Revelation 9, and a war that kills 1/3 of the population, 2.6 billion people. And this negotiation, if we're going to even have one, I think it's the Russians are saying, if we're going to end this, we better end it now because there's a point of no return. And where are we going to go with this? Do you want to continue or because we got a few bag of tricks we could use on you. And I'm sure the United States can say the same thing. Look, we did poke this bear. We did more than poke it. We stuck a dagger in its foot when we canceled the petrodollar, their ability to use that for foreign currency exchange, and many other things. But wow, of course, the bear did make a move on Ukraine in 2014. So they've been at it for 10 years. We need to pray, but we also need to recognize the prophetic hour that we're in. And if this is going to spin into World War III, it's almost like a replay World War II. I mean, some of the strategy that I see going on, but prophetically, this could be. So even though you say, well, no, Paul, they're getting ready. Maybe we're getting ready to have peace. No, we're getting ready to decide if there's going to be brutal war or peace. This is a huge conversation, and we need, it's too bad we didn't have Mike Pompeo and Trump and some of the heavy hitter generals that we used to have. It's just too bad we didn't have some of those guys setting down. But we better pray for whoever is setting down because this is serious. We're in the last days. We're in the end times. And it's getting serious.
I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain.
When I come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what else is going on in Israel.
Blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday, falling asleep, reading Hemingway.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda.
And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway.
Yes, you can get a copy of my book, Revelation 9:11. You can get it for sure. You can go to our website and get it, or you can get it at Amazon.com, Books and a Million, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target, and a lot of independent bookstores, and just about wherever a book is sold. And we do talk a lot about this vortex of evil in this very difficult time. So there's encouragement that they want to meet, but it's also, you better know what you're doing when you get at the table. Now, there's some breaking information coming out of Israel as well, and I thought about doing a separate video on this, but I'm going to just go ahead and share it right now, and that is the New York Times today has published a transcript of a recording of the finance minister of Israel. His name is Bezalel Smotrich. Now, in which he's heard telling residents of Judea and Samaria that the Israeli government is engaged in a stealth effort to irreversibly change the way the West Bank territory is governed without being accused of formally annexing it. The comments were made by Smotrich during a gathering in Judea and Samaria back on June 9th. He can be heard saying that the goal of the plan was to prevent Judea and Samaria from becoming part of a Palestinian state. So I mean, this is huge because Jesus mentions Judea and Samaria in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, on the end times. And Jesus says that when the abomination of desolation happens, when he stands in the holy place, whosoever read him, let him understand this. That's after the third temple's built, and the Antichrist, the wicked one, the son of perdition. Paul explains that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The Bible says that when this Antichrist, the son of perdition, the son of hell, when he walks into the temple of God before the worshipers of God, declares that he is God, he commits the blasphemous abomination of desolation. It says immediately the tribulation period of that time, or the woes that will happen, doesn't say whether that's still the 7-year tribulation or not, but it does say it is going to be a time like never before nor ever will be. And the Jews that are living in Judea and Samaria are told to flee for their lives, okay? Because the Antichrist has taken over the world, basically. And those living in the West, what's called the West Bank right now, but it's the biblical Judea and Samaria, they're told to flee. It's Matthew 24. So here's a man who's a very integral part of the Israeli government, who doesn't realize he's being recorded, audio tape, he's being recorded, telling residents of Judea and Samaria that we're trying to work out a deal. We're trying to create a way that where this will be totally the property, the sovereign land of Israel, and that if there is a Palestinian state done, it won't include Judea and Samaria. Well, I guess the only thing it would include would be Gaza, I guess is what he's thinking. So this is a huge moment, and the New York Times went ahead and published that, which only stokes, really what that does, what the New York Times just did, is just stoke the flames of fire of war. So this is where we're at. Prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. So give your life to Jesus Christ. He's coming soon. Get your tickets for our webinar coming up August 2nd. You can get them now at Eventbrite if you want to do that. Our webinar is Aliens Among Us. Matter of fact, I was just on the phone with L.A. Marzulli just before I pushed the button to go live here. And L.A. Marzulli is one of the speakers, okay? And wow, he was telling me that he's been very busy. He did 5 films in the last year, plus he's written a book. But he is really looking forward to being with us in this webinar. And matter of fact, he said, Paul, I want to talk to you on your webinar. I want to discuss Roswell, because he said, I went to Roswell and you won't believe what I found. So get ready for that one. Okay. Get ready for that one. So as you can see, this, and we're still adding speakers. We're still adding them as we speak. So this is going to be an incredible, this will be a webinar, an epic webinar, really. You'll hear from all sides. You'll hear from all sides. So this is going to be important. So don't miss it, because I'm telling you, the strong delusion's coming. It's part of that when it talks about the son of perdition, when we talk about the Antichrist, well, part of what goes on is the world also goes through a period of deception, and strong delusion. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah, LA is amazing, and he really is. And I love getting with him. Yeah, he's just a good personal friend of mine. But I mean, I just love listening to him myself. Okay, and I just love getting with him. He's hilarious. Actually, he should have been a comedian, But he's on the trail of the Nephilim. You're going to really, really enjoy that, his presentation in this webinar, as you will all of them. So, all right, guys, I'll let you go. There's a lot going on. Keep looking up. Your redemption's drawing nigh. Jesus is coming soon. I don't know the day or the hour, but man, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to keep looking up because, there's coming a day. There's coming a great day. Are you saved? Give your life to Jesus Christ. A lot of people got saved last night. We had a powerful show last night. If you didn't get to see it, you need to go watch it. Incredible broadcast. Mike was amazing. And 29 people got saved last night, and I think there were 9 or 10 rededications. But then there's been several more saved in the archive comments since it aired. So, wow. Praise God. That's all I can say. Praise the Lord and all the glory. And thank the Lord Jesus Christ for all of the glory that he deserves and the blood that he shed for our salvation. It's amazing. I'll be back with more current world events right here on the coming apocalypse.